Snoopy's robot boat. The drift of Snoopy's boat, or anything like a GPS bottle, due to wind and tide. This is very much a rough cut, really just basically raw material. There's Snoopy's boat. We've got other videos which say what happened, miraculously arriving 2 months downstream. And what we have on the screen there is the drift model, just start that, which was used. That's the first lot of GPS bottles inside a bottle, a bit of artwork from Robin. And what we have here is this old program predicted the movement of something floating with the surface water like a bottle, GPS bottle, but it seems that the last time I worked on that, which was June 2004, I'd also put in a guess at how much faster downwind a robot boat would go if its autopilot had failed, if it was just drifting with wind and tide. So the wobble is due to the tide. You see it better there. And of course other things, it's all key is the data you feed in. Anyhow, enough of that. So that's the very rough intro. There'll be a lot of repetition in the material here. And so now into the clips. Joined by Toadie, just as I was about to do my morning routine of checking counters and things. Yes, I've got my Weetabix there ready, but it's a case of grabbing the chance. Those are the bits for the stand for the GPS bottle, but let me get on with the priority work right now. So it takes a few minutes. That's okay, Toadie, will you allow me? You don't want to help me, do you? No, I don't think you. Nice low counts of the pages, which means I don't have to worry about lots of calls on a particular subject, or at least I'll get warning. But this flags up a problem that cropped up yesterday, which relates to one of my hostings. Don't forget, this is all public information for those who wish to know. Just clicking on that page right at the very bottom. There we go. And if I scroll down the page, it is to do with change of ownership of one of the hostings. The details are there, but I had to put up something there. And Snoopy, of course, appears there. That noise I can hear is Samantha getting up. Now that is one of the jobs that's relevant. Time to check my email. Couple there. Let's look at that first one. Ah, it's the details of the package from Easily. Okay, and the other one is start over. Didn't follow the right procedure there. I mean, that's just silly me. Very irrelevant advertising. And a very important one is that below it, which relates to Pub Grub, because it's from John, founder member of Team Joker and the Snoopy robot boat things. Let's just have a look at the inbox again. There we go, John. Hi Robin, feeling better after the side effects of vaccines. Would like to join you today for lunch. Absolutely brilliant. That is important, believe it or not. Right, enough talking from me. We'll get on to the other subject, which is the main subject for this raw material being shot, which is GPS bottles and drift of the water, the seawater, due to wind, and Snoopy's robot boat outside. Gonna have a bit more breakfast. Ah, interesting. There was a visit from Ukraine to the Easy page at 22:21 yesterday. So let's just see what it says. There we go. As we, oh, lovely illustration of that, and I hope that support still continues. How lovely. Anyhow, it's all explained on the Easy page, and won't spend too much time on that. You'll be glad to know this is just raw material, grabbing the chance while it's there. Looking a bit closer, all we know is that the visit yesterday was somewhere in Ukraine. Important email. Feeling better. That's from John. After this, in fact, so he'll be joining us for pub lunch. Easy to get distracted between things, but it's a matter of take the opportunities while you can. And I keep a note on paper, but even on videos like this. So I'm not sure whether I pointed it out before, but this is relevant. I've managed to put together the bits that were lying there, and this is a work of art by Robin Lovelock. There were two GPS bottles projects. The second one was by the BBC, and the first one was Layla Curtis, and the technology we use for that is really old stuff, and bottles like that were launched, and they, believe it or not, match up with, yes, it is quite difficult to use this for what I'm doing because there's material on it, and it's quite useful to review a clip, but it's a very practical solution. Anyhow, Snoopy's robot boat, and previous videos say the situation, but basically survived a couple of months at sea. And in terms of how it managed to miraculously arrive where it did, one possible reason is that it was blown there by wind. But when you actually look at how far east, you say, how could that happen? So one of the, yeah, sorry about all this stuff to be tidied up. So one of the possibilities, which I flagged up, oh, it must be weeks ago, was use of wind data to actually work back from where he arrived to see whether it's credible. Anyhow, that, believe it or not, is relevant to what we did for the bottle tracking projects. See if I can find the relevant stuff. It is very relevant. That's the Met Office site, and we're talking about the effect of wind on drift of floating objects like bottles and of course boats. So I've got thousands of web pages on 4 hostings currently, but let's look at the bigger list of my pages to find the page about GPS bottle tracking. Yes, lots and lots of pages, and one of those is about GPS GPS bottle tracking. Well, not surprisingly, I didn't find a link to it. It's but I know another route, which is via the Snoopy page. But while we're here, you can see some other relevant pages. Right, let's look at the Snoopy page, which is the most obvious one to me. So we're going to look at the Snoopy page. So various ways to get into that, but from the front page you click on the picture of the Snoopy related stuff, and we'll look on there, and we may find, yes, there it is. There's Snoopy sat on a bottle. There's also the Team Joker video, but let's look at Snoopy. Click on the bottle, and what does that take us? Oh, not found. I wonder if that is to do with the hosting. We'll have another look elsewhere. Yes, it turns out that earlier material is relevant, which is that rather than talk about it, it's explained on that easy page there. Basically, that bottle related folder needed to be uploaded. But let's go to one of the alternative hostings. Can try any of them. Let's try one that I've been very happy with, and is actually hosted in the UK in terms of the actual hardware. And which one is that now? I think it's that link there. And let's try Snoopy page, and then bottles. Let's see if we're luckier. Yes, there we go. So that is, I think, we'll soon see. No. Or that looks. No, that's Alex's sailing saucer page. Now, did I make a mistake there? As it happens, it was useful to point out that I do have friends everywhere, including in Ukraine, Russia, and 150 odd other countries. Anyhow, that, looking at the URL, is the Alexi page that's been public for years, linked off. Cancel that tab. And where were we? Right. GPS boat. Perhaps I clicked on that by accident. And what I'm looking for are the bottles. So let's have a look again. So let's try clicking on Snoopy on a bottle, and what do we get? The GPS bottle tracking page. So the header of it, apart from June myself, is one of their first experimental bottles in a plastic one, Layla Curtis, when we were testing them on Bray Lake. That is the first project, and yes, for a bit of amusement, there's Snoopy sat on a bottle and with a sail on. Just a bit of fun. So that's a very relevant page to the subject, and that is what was displayed at Turner Contemporary on a live large screen display, which is supporting Layla's contract, and they opened the lovely place at Margate. And so we go on here. Now, linked off here will be the more recent one. So that was updated in 2005, but here's the bottle page. So the story from 2004, which is when we were doing Layla's project, and what I'm looking for is, sorry for all the confusion, but it is just a matter of having the raw material here, and it says I'm looking for the appropriate page. So I said, okay, I'm going to stop there, just so I have a chance to find it. First, I just point out that, which was, if I recall right, we tracked down a bottle just based on the location a mobile phone was being used from. But let's get on to what I was searching for. I was looking for, I know everybody very reasonably say, if Robin can't find one of his own pages, how the hell could anybody else? Good point. But I found it by simply remembering what's the name I would have given it. Probably BBC Bot. And I took a chance, and sure enough it was there. And it was also on the Easily site hosting, which is currently linked because they also control the URLs. So this is the relevant page. Let me just zoom in a bit. So this was the project for BBC Radio Solent, and on here we used a lot of the knowledge we'd gathered from the earlier project on the effect of wind and tide. And so what I'm looking for, yes, that's the detailed engineering aided by the chap at the head of Radio Solent, and what I'm looking for is, yeah, there's a more detailed page which is, I'm looking for the page about the drift model and things, but that might be somewhere else. Yeah, I'm still looking for the drift model, which was used to guess the where the bottles would have drifted. What we have there are the actual tracks of bottles, like for example Dolly Dorset. There. Right, let me go a different route. Maybe even running the software that runs on this PC. I check the email again. John says he's got a flat tyre. So I wonder whether I can give him a call now and see whether I can give him a lift. Just change of plan to pick him up for pub grub. Yes, user busy. So he's probably trying to ring me. So let me reply to the email. Reply the right people. No probs, John. Try to call you busy. I can give you a lift. Can fit to be delayed. I know a good one, Robin. So send that off. So get on with whatever we were doing. Yeah, a lot of people say this is manic behaviour. All I can say is yes, but it's all enjoyable stuff. Get to know people that are working under manic conditions in emergency services or war zones. Time to, I think it's rolling, yes it is. Time to ring several other important grumpy old men, Stuart, Richard and Terry, to see if they're coming to pub grub today, since we did yesterday. So let me make the call. Just got off all the phone calls and essentially what we have now is definitely me and Stuart at the Red Lion Lightwater, obviously me providing Stuart a lift from here as usual, and John, we don't know yet whether we'll be picking him up because we haven't made contact with him. Anyhow, that's the urgent things. June will be arriving back from tennis soon. So this raw material, it'd be very confusing, but at least it's been shot. that all worked out perfectly. June was walked in just as I was speaking to John. I managed to get through on the phone. He said, oh, I just sent another email to say he has a second car. Who was that tyre fitter that I think of? And I was just saying ALS, and then June came in to remind us that Gary Carter now has the means of doing that. So basically, yeah, Gary appears in lots of places, including the video working with his son on air car, young son, the mice chewing wires, lots of other stuff. Anyhow, subjects all overlap. So what's agreed with John is we meet at the Red Lion 12:30, and probably make a call to Gary then on my phone. That's fine, everything's perfect, and Stuart will be coming down here at the usual time for a lift, so I might put him in the picture as well. Timing of June getting back from tennis, while I was on the phone, Toadie is making a nuisance of himself and reminded me, yeah, Gary does tyres. So, yeah, lots of Terrys we know. Terry Bassett, who told us, oh, how a good idea of putting, so all tripping over things. Right, that's enough. The main intention of this video was to point out that Snoopy's robot boat, and knowing exactly what happened, in other words, to what extent human intervention may have come in, to what extent it might have just been an amazing coincidence of where he landed. Right, Tony's going out for a prowl. Yeah, it is good weather. You gonna do a bit of patrolling? Thought you might. Come on then. Is coming up towards Robin's Corner, and the lovely, do you like that garden sculpture that June got me? That was my birthday present this year. Lovely, isn't it? And it's right on the spot, or practically on the spot, within a few centimetres of where we tested GPS from the late 80s. So-called Robin's Corner, and there is the warning sign about you. And I don't want anybody hurt. Okay? Right, let's get back. Oh, you could keep an eye on my car for me if you like. Yes, as I've said before, doubled its value recently. Gary fitted a new tyre. Or was it Gary fitting it? I can't remember now. Anyhow, it's in a reasonable state to provide a lift for Stuart. That's it, you're coming down, are you? You're not going to go up on your observation point up there? The owls haven't, I heard them last night, but I didn't take any interest in it. I was thinking of making a observation post with a few searchlights, and possibly it wouldn't be right to have machine guns, and there are more modern things than that. Oh, is it checking out for mice? Yeah, some of our family like the videos of Toadie, particularly Michelle, who insisted on dumping Toadie on us, whenever that was. Right, so peanuts out from last night, loads of Halloween junk to be cleared up when we've got the space to put it, or we have the space, it's just putting it in the right place, which is in the Halloween stuff will probably go down the garden, so let's take that run down there. A lot of this material has been seen on other videos. Oh, watch out for the water squirters. Luckily I'm out of range. So the question was, where is the Halloween junk going to go? Junk? It's not junk. There's a lot of things aren't junk. So it's basically, it says Halloween stuff, and we've got drawers there, and we're in the process of tidying up. One of the jobs that's in the GMT there, Alexa's sailing saucer, I mentioned earlier. No power here at the moment because we haven't done the work when there's something to help on the power running out here. We were cautious after diagnosing and said, well, let's unplug all the power that goes down the garden, even though the likely places that there was leakage when we had that heavy rain might be before that. So for example, this security light here that was all falling apart has got power coming in, but we disconnected that. But we've also disconnected the power that comes into the greenhouse where it runs down there. So basically, I suppose what we need is proper armoured extension cables and things. That's it. Lots of long video clip. Watch out for the water squirter. Let's see if I can find, while I have the opportunity, that material related to the prediction of the drift of floating objects, including bottles. That's the first type of bottle, going way back. You can tell by the technology of the tracker. That's old German kit before stuff started arriving from China. I found the application of the drift model, and let's make a shortcut of the drift 4. I have a shortcut to the application drift 4, and so if I double click on that, it will fire up the application. It's got explanatory words about it, and let's say OK, let's maximize it, and let's start. Click on the start up in the top corner, and yeah, that's exactly the application they wanted. And it seems the last time I used that was some time ago, and it may be exactly what we want. It looks as though that is the drift downwind due to wind of bottles which are just floating with the surface water. And the fact that I got these symbols here, I'm only guessing, but it would seem that that's the logic that I would hope, which is a boat that has got no power, it's just drifting with wind and tide, and obviously what that does is it would have made an assumption about what factor should add to the wind speed based on the fact that it's got more things to catch the wind, even if they're not working. And that wobble you see there is due to the fact that the tide is going backwards and forwards, and we certainly understand the tide very well. That's other pages. So that application, if there's time, is just a case of putting some data in it, and ideally it would be coming from the websites that have historical wind data, and I know one for a start in Greece, which we find. But as a rough estimate, we could look at my notes and make a crude guess where I make a note of the local wind here in terms of its wind direction and speed. I do that on most days. So essentially I could plug that data in. I say I could, but I probably don't have the time. But the stuff is there for those that do have the time. Let's scroll down the Snoopy page for the useful links. In fact, we can probably skip directly to it by clicking on that. There we are, useful links. So various things here. Q&A section. Do you understand the tide? See old things. So that's Q&A. Snoopy's robot boat Q&A, questions and answer page. And lots of stuff. Do you understand the tide? Quick answer is yes. And lots of other stuff there. The effect of, there we go. Dick's educated guess at the actual track of Phil's boat there. Food for thought. This is old information, and what we have there is from that drift model. But that was the very first version, I think, and that was just looking at the drift of the GPS bottles launched by BBC Radio Solent, I believe. Now what I was looking for is, if I can find it, is the really useful website on historical wind data from a friend in Greece, a long time ago though. And around on the Snoopy page, I might as well point out some characters here. There's Dick and Peter, who were key members of Team Joker after the publicity from 2012 put them in contact. Here's the two guys that I'll be having pub lunch with today, and here's one of the guys, Richard, that did yesterday with Terry. Yeah, there's with some tennis friends. This is old page, and some other guys that have been very useful, including that guy on the left. Just show you that while it was there. Don't forget, it's all public. Don't get confused between being public or in the public domain, where only a handful of people may see it, and that anybody can see it if they're pointed to it, and publicity. And I certainly don't seek publicity. I do that through other people. We may as well show a quick clip of the BBC News broadcast. Right, no, that's to the BBC website with their page. Where's that? Yeah, so that's still on BBC News website.
Could this be the British vessel to crack a record that's thus far eluded mankind? An unmanned crossing of the mighty Atlantic. Today, ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock came to Barton-on-Sea with his boat, the Snoopy.
This brilliant video was put together years ago by Ben Moore.
Reach a start line at
let's
west, which is south of Ireland. If it gets that far, then it's going to be going.
Right, that stuff's there if anybody wants to see it. So it happens it's
west near the Bahamas.
This is a journey that's been 4 years in the making, most of that time spent in the shed, packing in the technology. You can see the rudder twitching.
right. Let's just skip to the end of that. In fact, got too much there. There it is, sailing off.
Then what? BBC South Today.
And a Royal Marines landing craft utility on the horizon. Right, what else have we got? So a bit of news about Ukraine.
But despite how much this matters, finding out what's happening there is hard.
Careful as we break copyright.
Most of the front line remains off.
I think so, but let's stop it.
Some, though, do get limited access.
I'm compelled to say, having seen that, Jeremy Bowen, I saw the news clip last night, and there was just one bit which I'm going to say is brilliant. There was a Ukrainian soldier smiling, smoking a cigar. Well, Jeremy was reporting, obviously in his gear in a war zone, and there was a nearby explosion, and basically flinched and carried on smiling and laughing. I think army humour is the right term for it, and in fact that's not just for those guys. BBC video is still up there on the BBC site. Let's look at the family video that is on my YouTube channel, and oh dear, what's that? A bit of advertising. Ah dear. Gosh, skip the ads. Might as well put on automatic subtitles that can be converted into any language. Hopefully that will go into it now. Here we go. And we found a suitable place. It's going to be a bit of a walk down there. And looks like Ben from the BBC is already doing his business. Snoopy, ready for his voyage. And that's probably where we go from. Yeah, so this was shot by June.
I expect you to be further out than me all the time. Right, okay, this is what we can rudder on it. See if that rudder gets bashed. Right, that's working still. Good. Okay.
This is the 2012 attempt, broadcast live on BBC, but the video shot by ourselves. June using my camcorder, and of course the Royal Marines would have seen that crazy guy described earlier as the ex-NATO scientist wading into the sea. Anyhow, that's not the key bit I wanted to show, which is the link. That's there for anybody interested. Let's see if we can pause that and see. This is, by the way, the time bar, which enables you to go around and find particular things. So, there we go, that's what I wanted. So, right, it wasn't only, just put it on play. It wasn't only BBC TV.
This is Tim from BBC Radio Solent. Hello. Tim is the guy that lost one of my GPS bottles a year or two back.
To be fair, I place the blame fully on the design of the bottle. I'm sure
really?
I followed all the instructions and charged it correctly.
Oh, okay, right.
So I think you lost the bottle.
Yeah, but he chickened out of coming into the water with me with a microphone when we launched today.
I stood at a safe distance, as my health and safety executive would want.
Right, that'll be enough incriminating video now.
Very true. This is some years ago, 2012. Yes. Come on. Advertising, not interested in it. But anyhow, time to end that clip, I think. As has been said before, it's not what you know, who you know. But if it can be used to do some good, so much the better. Got pub lunch again. We had it yesterday, we got it again. Lovely with Stuart and Richard. I think that's a Red Admiral. Maybe got it wrong. Oh! Yes, watch out for the water squirters. I think they're safe, but you must read the small print on the warning signs. at the front door. Right, well that's the time to wrap up this very rough cut of material. So it only remains to say, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have.